This is something we're trying to do once to twice a month, just having a coaching clinic on several different topics. Our recent ones, we've covered two-side transition offense. We've covered sports performance and nutrition. We've covered player development. We've covered conceptual offense. So a bunch of different topics. We're trying to pick a different one every month. This one is going to be defensive technique. We've got Coach Mike with us here, and he is Canadian Polish, worked with the Poland national team as a physio and trainer there. He's an author, multi-sport guy as well, not just basketball and some other sports, but sailing also. Right, got a book out on that. So, pretty diversified, versatile coach. I know he consults with general managers. He has attended many summer leagues. He trains players of all ages and abilities. So, lucky to have you here today, Coach Mike. And we will record this. I've just started recording, so when this is done, give me a couple of days. I'll get it up on YouTube, and anybody who wants access to the recording, we'll be able to get you that recording. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we'll send you guys YouTube links within a day or two, but we'll try to get it to you as soon as we can. So, looking forward to this one. I know he's going to have some live demonstrators. So hopefully his athletes will be ready to go. But I'll let Coach Mike take over. If any of you guys have questions, just feel free to stop him or put it in the chat. We got that coach's chat, so feel free to ask a question anytime. And we can also have a bit of a Q&A at the end. So your show, Coach Mike.
All right. So just as a heads up, I was supposed to have one of my basketball players who jumps 11.6 in here. But I had to steal a compadre from the neighboring gym. I just want to demo a few things, so I have to keep them the whole time. Whoever is on the iPhone, if you can mute, just because we could hear your coffee shop guests consistently. Thank you.
Yeah, guys, feel free to show your cameras if you want, but please mute while Coach is talking if you can.
If he doesn't mute, Matt, you can mute him for me, please, and thank you. I just want to demo one or two things, get you guys heading into it, and then I'm going to go over some stuff in the presentation. And really what I want to talk about is stuff that really applies immediately to teaching athletes and getting them to buy in certain technical aspects of defense and things like that. And the first one I love getting kids to do, all ages, is find the strongest person in the gym, give them the basketball, tell them to hold it, and I prove to you you can strong it. Even if it's the weakest kid in the gym, you can steal the basketball from him. So come here for a second. So he's gonna hold it like this, okay? Most of my athletes, regardless of size, this is something I developed from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Judo and applied it. So we're breaking arm bars to get chokes and arm bars. We apply a basketball. So he holds it like this. If we pull as hard as possible, pull it. If we pull, I can't do anything. But if I rotate his thumbs to this north position, it turns off the biceps and puts the strain on the forearms, making my strength more than his. Hold it as hard as possible. Just hold it. Hold it. You got it? Okay? Watch his face. Hold as hard as possible. Like this. Then your forearms. You hold like that. Ready? Okay? And then you can do it with one arm too. So my favorite thing is, I'm a little. I teach a lot of guards. Big goes up for a rebound. He jumps. His momentum is down. I can't contest up there even though my vert is very high. So sometimes I'll go there. But other times, especially when it's tight on the backboard, I'll go behind the guy, take the back of my hand, and put it on his chest. There's no foul here. I can come off and on naturally, but as he comes down with the basketball, I go up with my arm and roll away. Come down slightly. Bring the ball down one more time. And we just roll this shoulder, and we're able to take that basketball away. Try this with your weakest kid in the gym, the strongest kid in the gym. It always shocks everyone, especially the person holding the basketball. As long as you rotate that basketball, they can't hold it any longer. I've done it to guys in the NBA. They're always shocked, and they're like, oh. So there's moments where this can apply. Different guys, especially guys with quicker hands, but more importantly, dead balls or two-handed ball situations. If you can find the skin of the ball, you can take that ball away. Now, just to keep him here shortly, I just want to demo something that's one of the most imperative things we're going to talk about a little bit later, but I just want to demo it as early as possible in this chat while I have most of you guys' attention. So if we're on the three-point line. Athletes, let's say the rim is here, or back there behind me. This is baseline. He attacks middle. What we see often is athletes olay or open their hips. So they do this. Biggest issue is if I'm forcing weak and I'm seated in this position, if I open, this hip doesn't usually open enough. And most athletes gets beat with an open foul. The number one thing athletes need to start learning and doing and getting more effective at is just backpedaling. And why? Is if he's going this way and I backpedal, I'm in a legal guarding position. I could do more things. And it comes down to what we want to accomplish as a defense. And I think a lot of coaches get that confused. I'll explain that right now in a second at the beginning of this presentation, but I just want to explain one more time. Because then I hear, well, what if this guy crosses over? So again, he goes this way, we backpedal, and if he crosses over, we're still in that legal guarding position to make a play on the ball. Come down, just come down here. So for me, whether it's up on the wing or in the post, we want to accomplish the same thing by staying about 4/5 in front of the defender toward the basket. Obviously, in the middle of the court, this changes a little bit. We're obviously going to force weak, maybe a little bit more 3/5, but we want to pick one side. Why? If he is faster than me, if he's got just a better first step or a crossover, I will always lose if he can go both ways. I don't know which way he's going. If I can control the direction of the race, I at least have a chance. Why? I'm already a meter or two ahead of him, and my job is not to beat him here or to stop him. It is to beat him there. My job is to stay between him and the basket. Now let's say he's a post. He catches this away. Net's still here. I don't want my athlete again halfway. If this is middle and his chin is middle, we're 4/5 or 3/5 in front of his midline. I have about, again, 1/5 of my leg behind. So you can see it from this side. Here's the offensive player catching on the elbow. I'm not here. I'm middle or more in front of the dominant side, wide feet. My head and shoulder are going on his head and shoulder. Why often I see athletes playing defense like this? Okay? I can touch his thigh, I can touch his ass. If I get up, I deny the front cross or front rotation, my chin and head here, I can obstruct anything near his vision, the ball. Let's see, turn you one more time, last time. So here I can obstruct this. More importantly, if he starts moving into this back hip, he doesn't notice. It's this hand, and because my hand is here, I have eligibility to this ball from that position, especially players with longer arms. If we're not making contact, but we're doing this, there's no way I ever get there or here. If I'm here, I can do this. More importantly, if I take away the front pivot, he's more likely to put the ball up the court. That's a win for me. I'm a guard, he's a big, now it's off the dribble possession. If he's a guard, just like we did there, and I give him all of the front, he has both directions and all this real estate to cross over. If I take away the front cross with my foot and some of my body, he has less options. Last thing I want to show before I let this guy go, he's random. If this guy's just pray for more. Perfect. So if this gentleman has better stance and I'm here playing defense, he's got a good crossover. I'm obstructing the front cross. He's forced, especially if the ball's here or here, to go behind the back or between the legs. When an athlete goes behind the back or between the legs, what does the opposite hand do? It sits in space to receive. It doesn't go get the ball. It's not a front cross where it goes together. This hand is sitting and waiting. Or this hand is sitting here waiting. All I have to do is give it a high five. I match the hand in space. I'm not looking for the ball. I'm matching a still object in space. Why? We have to limit options. Take away the front cross, control the direction of the race. So now if I'm jammed here, and again, he attacks his top foot, which is more aggressive now. Go this way, and I obey. I'm beat. I need to go this way, back pedal, and now I'm forcing what we want in basketball. Steven, thank you, Steven. Where are you? I got a beer for you. Cheers. All right, so for me, it's because coaches need to understand what our goal is defensively, and a lot of that is lost. So for me, the idea is we want to force the least tenable shot, the shot that has the least value. Okay? By making that big, put the ball on the dribble, or making somebody else put the ball on the dribble, we decrease the value of the shot. Obviously, first off, no free throws, no layups and dunks. Our job is not to stop a shot. It's to get between him and basket or him and rim. So my players are taught to sprint halfway to the smile or 2/3 of the way to the smile. When my guards are better, it's 1/3 of the way to the smile. If he's past halfway, that's peel switch. That's that big responsibility that we're peeling. That comes later. What do we want to do is if he puts the ball on the dribble, we're avoiding catch and shoots. We're giving ourselves a better chance. Each time we add one of these options or take it away, we're increasing 10% in difficulty. So if most players shoot 45% and we add 10% negative for all 6 of these values because we've forced an off the dribble pull up 2. Yes, guys will hit those. Turn around and clap. My favorite thing in pickup games, or more importantly, at the beginning of a practice with new athletes, is you see a lot of ones. Get everyone around one of the ones that was good. The one player playing defense is going to play harder. The one player playing offense is going to usually get pulled up and hit a nice off-balance fading away shot. Along 2. You then have to ask the group, was that what we wanted? Well, he didn't get a layup or dunk. Yeah, he scored, but it's extremely difficult, took multiple dribbles, and we're able to force something that over time is going to end up not being 45% field goal percentage, but below 20%, sometimes below 15. Why? Players don't practice off balance, off the dribble shots. Coach likes drawing, it's okay. So for me, why we have to close out and jam so high is we want to take away the catch and shoot. The catch and shoot 3 above the break and in the corner 3 is super important. So we have to, again, sprint out to close. How you teach that is important, but it's up to you how you teach that. Some coaches, again, recommend 2 hands, some one stick hand. I recommend, most importantly, being ready to change directions. Your job is to make them uncomfortable, make them put the ball on the floor, and then afterwards, more importantly, stop free throws and layups. Your job's not to block a 3. Your job is to make it uncomfortable, make them put the ball on the floor, and especially if it is a high percentage 3-point shooter, we want to jam them, put the ball on the floor, and be able to recover not 2 feet down from the 3-point line, but in the paint, where we're back in legal guarding position, able to expose and play good defense. Any questions so far? I just want to leave it open right here. Comments? There's something in the chat. Matt, if you want to monitor the chat, just so I don't have to. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll check. You're good to keep going for now.
Thank you. So again, we want to invade the space and more importantly, take away that front crossover. A lot of athletes, whether it's in the corner or on the wing, they have a preferred foot with the step. We can abuse that. Often enough, it's opposite hand from their shooting hand. So just like we saw with my partner, if he catches away like this, and this is his pivot, Well, guess what? His weight ends up on the pivot foot, not on the plant foot, and he can't front cross, front step, and the big just ends up wanting to give this away or dribble. And again, getting back to what we want is that big to dribble, and now we're playing, again, face up as a guard or a smaller guy, easier to play than a back down big. Priorities, again, don't foul, deny layups, and more importantly, there's more help to come. Players have to understand your job is not to guard your man. It's to guard, again, these principles of deny free throws, deny layups. Some players won't pass on the drive. They have to recognize once they put their head down, they're never making that kick out, you can collapse. Now, as I was chatting there, this is one of the biggest things, is getting better at backpedaling effectively is more important than lateral step for me. Okay, I'll show you the lateral step, how I teach it, why I teach it that way. But more importantly, on the closeout or off that dead ball, that player needs to be more ready to backpedal instead of opening the hips like that. Why? Yes, we're going into a turnaround sprint downhill, but why? Why can't we just backpedal 1 more meter, maybe 2, faster than he can go 3-4 meters forwards and contain him into a long pull-up 2? If we ole, we're allowing him to get to free throw line, which is again getting to that 3 levels of scoring off the pick and roll, 3-point line, nail the rim. After they pass the nail, automatic switch. But we don't want to let them get to that nail if we can. Okay? So what we can do as we get better of this is with our coaching possessions is get better at teaching, again, backpedal to an open slide to catch the player in that recovery position, or backpedal and working on this stance change. So I'm not upright like this when I backpedal. When I backpedal, I'm here. But more importantly, when I take contact here, it straightens me up, and my back in this position allows me to absorb force better. Too many people are tall at times when they should be smaller, even if they're big. Or more importantly, ready to absorb hits. Okay, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is extremely good at this, but when you see him play guys like Drew Holiday, they're able to get in this stance. Now what happens with this stance and being able to not ole and just backpedal is I want to identify again where players dribble. Most of the time, we got to recognize that most players dribble right here in this trapezoid between their feet. This is where most players are comfortable here. That being said, most players need to work on dribbling outside the top of the foot here. Most players cannot, unless you're in the NBA college or very good European player, dribble back here. And why this is so important is once I take the ball back here, I can automatically go between the legs and behind the back. I can defend the ball, and more importantly, if the defender is here, my body and length of my arm do not allow the player to touch that ball. But with that, if we take away those comfort zones by now understanding what they are, just like what our shooting zones are or goals, we can then take away options and give ourselves more options to take the ball away or force turnovers. Turnovers are not steals. So if we take away this front zone, this athlete dribbles here, like we said before, he now goes behind the back. See my hand sitting here in space? So if I'm over here, hands waiting, we high five, we're able to make contact or tip the ball and get rid of it. Or create disruption, where again, they have a shorter shot clock to work with. If a player does cross in front and your foot is there, can you kick it? Yes. What's the worst that happens? Anybody in the chat? Whether you kick it incidentally or actually kick the ball.
Then it's just a violation.
Yeah. But there's no foul.
No foul, nobody's going by you.
Yeah, but maybe we get time back on the shot clock. But if it's incidental because our foot is already there in obstruction, sometimes it's continued from where the clock is, but we stop the possession. They have to take a whole new possession. Our defense is able to set up, and having a set defense oftentimes is more effective than just, again, playing that live ball out. So I want players to understand that kicking the ball is not a foul or having contact been made. More importantly, we want our foot or our body in that front cross space to take it away. So now they're doing dribbles that they're 70% more likely to turn over. Does that make sense? So when I talk about cross step and open step, this is where it gets pretty imperative to understand a little bit of the difference. So I just want to demo again. When an athlete goes down, okay, we're either going to open step or cross step. Okay, it's pretty important to understand because just like we talked about when Steven was here with attacking this top foot, if the athlete opens steps here, we can compete flat. Bagas, can you mute, please? Shukran. All right, so listen, if this athlete cross steps, this is where they're able to compete more downhill because we already have the athlete, the defender on our hip. So if we open step, we get shoved this way and we lose. If we backpedal, we're good. Now, if we're playing the tight defense I talked about earlier, sometimes it's harder to backpedal those first two steps, but it's more important to take stuff that I learned from Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, other guys in the league. When I was working with some of those guys, and more importantly, watching too much film. And what we want to do is use our hands like this, open thumb, or like this, back of wrist. Why? We're disencouraging a straight arm, and we just want to impart some force on the hip or the femur. Why? Let me lower this a little. When this athlete goes to cross step here, all our goal is to put this hand on the thigh here, a little higher. So when they go from this position to cross step, and I'm sitting here in defense, this hand is going to touch the thigh. What's going to happen with this thigh is we're going to go from a step downhill to merely this. Now my feet are facing sideline. So instead of here to here is just this hand touching this thigh as it's coming around and turning it that much. Now all the downhill momentum and forward momentum is broken based on the foot position and how the athlete can absorb forces through the ankle and hip. This gives us more time to recover. That being said, because we're in this jam or up close position, this same hand here, instead of touching just the thigh, we're starting at the hip here. So when I come to cross step, this hand can slide down and touch it, or more importantly, go from in space, touching thigh, to sometimes touching the lead hip to impart 10 to 20 newtons of force. Any force like this, again, back of the hands or open thumb with a bent elbow means I can be here and absorb this force as it goes to beat me or touch it, especially on the cross. We go this way, they cross, we can guide this hip across just to face sideline, but more importantly, if they get a good cross, I can impart force on this hip while blocking the front view, and this imparted force on the hip with a broken elbow only needs to be some newtons of force. Why? We're decreasing their ability to accelerate, and more importantly, accelerate past us. Any force they impart forwards gets imparted to us, helping us stay in that position ahead of them and propel us in the right direction. More so, we can also feel their changes of direction. We don't have to stay there. I don't sit there with my hand on the hip. We touch, we feel. If there's acceleration, 1, 1, 2, hand is off. But that's usually how fast acceleration happens and how much we can impart force. You can see film of Kobe, Michael, and other guys do this. Now what happens is, again, back to teaching this cross step. Athlete goes here, goes jab to cross step. Our goal as a defender is just to lightly touch this foot or thigh here. And if we turn that foot, we have so much better of a job defending and opportunity to defend. Now, keeping with the same premise and the topic of athlete zones, whether they dribble, We talk about zone 1 being right in front of me here, zone 3 being behind me. When an athlete wants to accelerate or go forwards, the ball has to go from whether it's 3 or 1 into zone 2. It has to be ahead of them. So if we go back to this moment here, where Steven was attacking me this way, okay, the ball comes ahead. Even if it's on a live dribble, we come between the legs and we go this way, the ball comes ahead. So if I backpedal, that ball is coming into my space, and you see this with film and Drew Holiday most effectively, is by backpedaling, that player puts the ball into zone 2 or 1, especially if they cross over and is literally in the face of the defender. So we are backpedaling to where they're going, not where they are, and we're just containing them in front of us. With either hand, especially on the crossover, they cross over, then they push that ball back in front. You see this often with that tip and pull the hand away, steal. Why? Longer arm defenders or defenders with the hand, or more importantly, with the understanding of that ball is coming out to create forward acceleration, they're able to make contact and force the ball backwards. Questions?
Hey, Coach, I got a quick question. When you're talking about the hand on the thigh during the cross step, as far as teaching that to your guys and implementing it, is that just something you're kind of walking through the technique first and then trying to do it with some guided one-on-one and then see if they can do it live? Or what's your best way in terms of just trying to create that as a habit for all your players?
So we start with a dead ball drill where we just get them working on it and touching the right place. And then we go into soft ones where basically we dictate what foot has to move. So that offensive player gets better at working through, hey, I committed to this pivot. I have to get out of this corner with these feet. The defender knows what's up, and now we have to compete out of that position. So now it becomes not just imparting force or trying to turn that thigh, but also learning how to obstruct or block that thigh to remain in front, and ends up being pull-up jumpers for 2, which just becomes, again, a healthy game, but more importantly, working on that defense as more of a focus. And we often encourage trying to get a paint shot, but we do that after the first, let's say 5-6 points. So we allow the defender to grow, and then we focus a little bit more on that offensive player for not accepting that ball in 1-2 dribbles before touching paint. Within those 2 dribbles, they need to be in paint, or on that 3rd dribble in paint scoring.
Okay, got you. Thank you.
And again, we could progress this over time, but again, it becomes that how close away, how far away am I? And then it also becomes a fun post drill for everybody, whether we're playing bigs, littles, or just littles on littles and bigs on bigs. Just because, again, when we go catch and we sweep through and go to the cross step, or we catch and we reverse step, we can start playing with touching the thigh, working on obstructing that front cross and limiting options. This is where I loved working with Marcin Gortat after he went to Hakeem's camp and stuff, just because the footwork is so tight that when we turn around, it becomes a game of this. Now, can he put the ball down without taking his foot? Some players travel here. We'll work on that travel option, and we really exploit the defense to force those bad decisions or those quicker decisions so the guy makes mistakes, and we teach our players to play a little bit slower. With that being said, we start with that closer and sometimes move further away. So I showed this earlier. Again, I just want to reinforce it through my film, just so it's on the notes if you need it. When a player holds that ball, if we rotate that ball like this, and turn the thumbs this way, it turns off the bicep, turns on the forearm, and they can't hold it anymore past this. My thumbs and fingers can't do anything. And again, regardless of strength, try this with your athlete today and just have a good laugh. 2 hands on the ball, rotate like this, or 1 hand here, and rotate the bicep. Like you're just doing a shoulder curl like this. It's enough force where, again, I've stolen it from guys that are 6'10". It seems not possible, but when they come down with the rebound, that force is coming down with their jumping force, and we're only imparting a little bit of rotational force, not as much pulling force in that situation. Talk about this. Okay, now in the post, this is something that I learned from 2 70 and 80-year-old coaches who wrote so many books on defense and basketball. They're in the Hall of Fame. It's called crab defense. I've seen this at times. I've seen this taught poorly. I've seen this taught well. I've seen this also confused with other drills. So what I want to explain is, when a big is standing in the post to catch, our job as a guard or a big is to get them out of the position they want to catch the ball. So that means if I'm behind, I'm pushing them out. More importantly, I want to front if they're in the paint I want to sit, so my bony butt or my thigh right here on the fattest part of my leg is pushing backwards, and we're gonna lock up their knee with our butt, and then start pushing backwards on this thigh. Look how big the thigh bone is. It doesn't matter how big that guy is. We get just above the knee, we push backwards with our ass like this. What happens is that big, with a locked out knee, cannot jump. Physiologically, nobody can jump like that. Your knee's locked. It's uncomfortable. They got knee pain, knee issues, hip issues, whatever. They're gonna move and backpedal until they're more under the rim. We're calling for it like this. So you back up until you can make catch with that ball. They're gonna keep backing up because it hurts their knee. Otherwise, they're just gonna run away and go somewhere else. Okay? So we sit on that knee with force, like the crab, hands are up, so we can go here or here and adjust, and sometimes touch the player so we know where they are. But we should feel them with the ass on the thigh. Any questions for that? Again, super effective. You see film of Kyle Lowry teaching this, Patrick Beverly doing this ad nauseum, and other guys doing it to other people, but especially overseas where you get littler guys and bigger guys, super effective because that little guy understands where that knee is, where to put the pressure. The young gentleman on the iPhone, if you go on mute, please. All right, so let's say this guy backs up to where he doesn't matter anymore. Great. He's going to run to the high post or somewhere else next time. So if he's on the high post, similar to what I showed with Steven, is what we call this monkey defense, where this individual is here, my head is on one side, and just like I did on the pool deck as a kid, I'm doing this. So as he's here, I'm over, slide, wide, and I'm in front again. So even if he does this to this, or this to this, he's moving left to right. I need to just slide 1 or 2 feet. It's not much, but this position of him feeling me and seeing my legs obstructing the front turn is imperative. Why? What do I want to force? A shot away from the net. So if the net is here, the big is here, I want him to step this way or dribble that way. So if he looks to turn baseline, again, cut off baseline with wide thighs. This is where athletes do need to get better at pelvic mobility, do need to get better at that hip strength. This is where it limits athletes. And this, in these moments where you battle on the wing and then recover to the back pedal, is where athletes, especially guards, struggle. Why? It's a change of direction. It's heavy on the hips and pelvis. And a lot of basketball players don't work on it. So you see a lot of, again, stretching the hip flexors out before practice, the hamstrings, the pelvis and the hamstrings, the hip flexors, all need to be involved. Why? It just makes these movements easier. Questions with that? Again, now that we figured out that, again, our chest and shoulder and head are on their chest and shoulders so we can reach the back hip, obstruct the front, okay? If they turn around now, we can also impart some force on the hips here. We can impart some force where we push them slightly up court, but without leaning on them, where we have to pull the chair or do something else. When this big backs up, this is in my notes, this is one of the most important things you gotta learn, and this is individual to each athlete, is the point of no return. Typically, it's the smile or the charge arc or a foot above. So that means I'm here holding him and doing this, but he starts backing up doing this. I could back up a little bit, but at a certain point, I need to stop, bend over, and hold him here. Look how bent my back is to hold a guy. So my athletes are 250, 280. Force production. So my force is this way. If I'm too upright, I'm gone. Here, until he starts turning around to looking for the hook, then I'm here. And I'm a big wall. So athletes need to get this lower back stronger so they can absorb these forces and then get up. And I don't mean top strength, muscular endurance, especially your bigs and wings, whose lower back is weak. They grew so much, the spine grew, that lower back needs to get stronger for defensive endurance. Muscular endurance in the lower back, super important for that. But this is where that point of no return, we have to stop, and force more than a 3-4 foot hook. If we can get outside 4 feet, again, hooks decrease by, I think it's like 30% or something like that in accuracy if we get it outside of 4 feet. Or whether it's a floater or a jump shot. Does that make sense? We want to keep them out of that, again, ideal layup free throw zone. And again, we're not fouling. We're going holding the position and recovering tall. Other guys can work on verticality afterwards. I didn't want to take too long. I want to leave options for questions. I'll be super technical about, again, teaching the back pedal, not teaching open hips. The last thing I want to go over with is teaching slide and why it's so important, okay? Before we wrap up here and ask more questions, I want to get you guys thinking on that term. And this is where it's going to come into teaching slide. When we slide, most guys, they do this. What's the problem? When I step with my lead foot and I go with my toes first, I'm braking. Means I'm slowing down. I want to go heel toe. See how my body naturally wants to move over that foot if I go heel toe versus that stopped. Now, if I go heel toe, but while this foot is in the air, I push off the back foot, I can cover more distance in one slide. So previously my athletes did this. Here's one slide, when I say I'll do it. And I'm both feet over the same part, wide stance, getting wider. But again, it's heel toe, and we only want to teach slide once or twice. So they don't have to slide more than here or here and here and contain. We don't have to slide 3-4 times. If we're doing warm up, we want balls in the feet, nice and light, getting the hips and legs warming up in these acceleratory directions. Now, we talked about this guy open stepping and beating me. If he cross steps beat me right, we can touch that thigh and turn. But what we can also teach, super important, is we go down to the drill Matt was talking about this. When we do this step drill, when we go through, not just turning this thigh, the last thing we want to do is that the defender now, he takes this leg, I'm going to match up. So if he cross steps this way, I'm going to cross step with the same leg. Open. Why? As he cross steps and I cross step, we make natural contact with the hips. He's going to push me back down into this position. More importantly, I can step into the frame of the defender here, touch his hips, and recover. I used to not be an advocate of cross-stepping until I seriously just watched way more film and seeing where it's applied. And for me, again, it's obstructing that front cross space, or that space where everyone's more comfortable with. Now, if we both step in the same direction, naturally, if our feet line up and my foot's this way, his foot's gonna line up next to me, and we can both naturally face sideline. Because why? My thigh and hand pushed it there, but then my foot landing beside his foot, then I could recover to flat or neutral or natural defense.
Hey, coach, you got a question in the chat there. For the cross step to slide, do you still teach heel to toe?
Oh, yeah. Why? Because again, my job is not to get to here. My job, especially if he's going downhill, it's not here. That's where most athletes think we're racing to. No, I'm racing to here. Net is there. If we're doing this now, it's cross, open. Okay? Here, open the foot. If I need more distance, right? If I need to cross more distance, I'm here. See how much further I went? If I need to shorten it, yes, we can jam the toe, but it's more dependent on where this defender puts us here. Because then if I stop early like I did here, it's because he's coming back to cross over into this thigh, or he's stopping, and I can just wall up. This is where it fucks up most pro players when they do this with them. We're fighting, a couple crossovers, cross step here, jump shot, and I'm standing there like that. They're like, dude, how are you standing there with 2 hands up on 2 feet? Why? It's just practice. I'm working on those changes of direction. I'm working on back pedal, drop my back and shoulders, forward, back. And we work on these little accelerations and warm up. Prime the feet, prime the hips, but also get used to basketball movements, which isn't 5 slides in a row. Sorry, I'm getting hot. And yes, as you can tell, this presentation would have been a little bit better with one of my high performance athletes who is sleeping in or something. I'm not sure, but not my fault at this point. Any questions now?
I got one for you, Coach. How about in terms of how you teach closeouts? You know, some people teach the short, choppy steps. Some people teach 1-2 real quick. Wondering how you teach footwork in terms of closeouts and what you do with your hands.
Okay, awesome. This is where players, it depends if it's a shooter. Running them off the line isn't a closeout. They've committed to shooting. They're in the act of shooting. It's not a pump fake. Their feet have left the floor. I'm going to obstruct their vision or airspace. Those are the two options. So I'm usually going to the hand that's shooting the ball, or my hands are literally going to shoot in front of their face, knowing I'm going to be short. So I'm just making as much of a little wall as I can as I jump to obstruct either their vision, to decrease the chance of going in, or their information they could process, or going across the shooting hand because they committed. That being said, closing out is what I love to do, because for me, it's all about, again, making the offensive player uncomfortable. So if I'm coming out to you, I'm gonna get to here and then start creeping in with my body, preferring to put my ass facing right hand drive. Most guys are right-handed, because if he comes this way with that right hand, this lead hand is in the front push position. So he goes from here across, this hand can swipe. More importantly, he goes across over baseline. I am still butt to basket. Why? Basket is here. My job is not go there. Let's go right here. Force a pull up 2. If he does a step back 3, great. I am gonna sprint to about 2 meters away, sometimes less depending on the guy. Or if they're not looking like they're shooting whatsoever, facing the wrong direction, I'm up on their ass. Why? If he's facing this way, and I can do this, same thing we did in the post. He's typically gonna pivot this foot, and now, if I'm here, he has to dribble up court. He has to dribble up court towards half, where I can even get a touch or force a bad step, turnover. I have sideline to help me. I can do a one-man trap. Why? I can move my hips and feet so wide here, I can move both ways. That there's no forward progress on the first step. They have to step hard sideways, and more importantly, up the court. If your players get better in that and not be so skinny, guys can't get around. And if you can force not getting around, well, then we force pull-up 2s, or we force long 2s, or we force a kick out and a whole reset of the defense. That being said, again, go up to that point that I'm comfortable with. If this guy's too fast and a poor shooter, I might be this 2, almost 3 meter distance away before I start, again, creeping in. And what I mean creep is, I'm here, I'm here. My feet are moving like this. The offensive player doesn't know which way I'm ready to move. I'm ready to move both ways. My ass is positioned to move this way, but I'm so ready, I'm ready to move that way. Why? If my feet are stuck or static to the floor, especially flat, you're not ready to push off and move. If I'm doing this with my feet, defender's like, okay, which way do I go? Don't really have a front, and they just usually start putting the ball down, and then great. Then I can start jamming more and start taking away that front cross, limit his dribble, goes between the legs, hands high, my steal. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Now, lastly, one thing I didn't talk about in my notes was what we call a two-handed steal. A lot of coaches I chatted with writing my book I'm writing say, you can't teach stealing, or you can't actively get a steal. I said, well, what about these athletes? Or what about where you just count the timing of the basketball, and you know when he released it, the ball is going to do opposite and equal reaction. So he pushed here, it's going back. So instead of stealing the ball here, again, I put my hands here, it's my steal first. I don't have to steal the ball, I just have to get my hands in between his hand and the ball. That being said, when we force now, this crossover here, most athletes, or we do a drag, Okay? Most athletes don't go heel to toe. That means if I'm dragging the basketball, the goal of me is to pull the ball up court, south to north. Most athletes, when they get to the stop, go here and go east-west. And this is a big problem I have in player development. We go here, we go here. Now the ball, when the defenders here stop us to go backwards, the ball goes outside the frame of our body. Instead of coming back here, following us out, allowing us to shoot or dribble, we come here. We haven't moved the foot and we're putting the balls away from the body. So you can see some guys in the league do this. Again, Drew Holiday, one of my favorites on it. But it's all we do. Force that. Ball comes away from the body. Walk through the ball. Put your chest, seeing the hand extend. Instead of just matching it hand to hand, on the seeing of that cross, you just start walking up court. And this is where you see athletes walk through the ball to an easy two-handed layup. Dyson Daniels, new athlete in the NBA. Unbelievable amount of steals. Something he's done, whether with two hands or just walking your chest through the ball, because that hand is so extended from the frame. So when you do player development, improve that drag. It's not a crossover, it's a drag. So it should be north-south. But when it is east-west, it's an opportunity to steal the ball because it's so far away from the frame, the athlete has no control. Explain more on how not to get beat on the first step. Yeah, literally, understand. So I come out here. My job again is to be ready to move in this direction. More realistically, my job is to be ready to move in this direction. Why? I'm forcing him to go that way. If he does start to attack my top foot, I'm not doing this. I'm doing this. Because then he's going to dribble like this, straight into the frame of my hand. So again, my job is to be here ready to move in the direction of the race. If I come flat, I can't control the direction of the race. The athlete has both crossovers, aka in front so easily that he can go whichever A he wants, and you can't slow him down or stop him. But now if I start doing this, well, this lead leg blocks some of that front crossover space, and now he wants to go this way, following my legs in the direction I want. But again, if he attacks his top foot, all I'm going to do is this, and he's still in front of me here. I want to keep the defender in front of me. That is my most imperative goal. Does that make sense? So if we look down here, if we keep them in front of me and they shoot, we've achieved all of these things. It's last four or last three are the most important, because then the first three are negligible. First three didn't happen. He shot off the dribble because we just saw him dribble. He's off balance because we're there in front of him and it's off the move. Most athletes don't work on that until year 3, 4 into the NBA. Yes, they work on it when they're younger, but not to the same level you need to. And lastly, usually results in a long mid-range. That's just outside the paint shot, preferably closer to the 3-point line, but a lot of athletes we just identify they can't shoot going this way, or they're going to be floating so hard sideways, because a lot of athletes, again, when we talk about shooting, they run in one direction, they go shoot. Look where I landed. What we need to work on with our athletes is get to the point, stop, and then all the forces are in the direction of the net, or we're jumping off 2 feet and landing on 2 feet. Too many times the athlete is going through a fade, a curl, whatever it may be, and going 1 foot, 2 foot, blowing through this foot and hip because it's so weak, making it a bad shot already. So then if I get a hand up, I take it down another 10%. They're shooting under 20%. Me and coach are happy.
You got another question, Coach. What are the best ways for guards to fight over the screen without committing a foul or without getting rejected?
Awesome. Is first and foremost, we want to be up on, if we're not already on the hip of the guard and they're too far away then we want to get it on the hip of the screener. Let me start there. So the screen comes, I hear screen, or I feel him, but he's too far away to go jam and force in the direction I want, whether we're doing ice or forcing the pick and roll, my job is to put my hands here and start feeling up the screen. Once I got him, he can't move. Once we make contact, he can't move his feet to move the screen. Now I can hold him, touch and feel where his thigh is, and then get my leg over. And I'm starting in this position half the time, where I'm here to this. Now I'm over the thigh of the big, and I'm able to go both ways. More importantly, I'm able in this position to keep my butt to basket, because again, when I get over that screen, my butt is facing the direction they want to run. More importantly, that I can get my hands on the big. In that situation, I do want to jam or have contact with the guard if possible. Why? I want to flat and ride the hips skinny over the screen. Same concept of, so even if I'm riding his hips, I'm jammed up, screen's here, I'm coming here, hip over and skinny. Why? My job is to get through as fast as possible. My job is to not get screened. By touching him and getting that lead leg over, or having contact with A, the screener, and B, the guard, we can jam the hip, control the direction of the guard. More importantly, if the screener's there, we get over, fight back under if we need to, because let's say they reject late. In that late of a reject, we're able to, again, that's usually when we're doing ice in that situation. So we came over and we're forcing this way, back down. Let's say we came over, he rejects. My big just is again here, stunt. I just got over this big. My job is to get back under and throw. And again, I'm forcing it off the dribble 3 with some contest there. It's better to, again, maintain that contact, because if they do reject, we're on the hip, trailing, contesting, making them uncomfortable, fighting back in front. If they get past the nail or the nail relative to the rim, we call that automatic switch or peel, and the big or the drop big in that situation. If the other big had to pop, it's their responsibility to what? Number 1 and 2, protect the rim and don't foul. Make sense? Get skinny, get contact, get the lead thigh over, and really fight either onto either hip. Usually starting with the guard's hip, but it's easier to teach leading most players, teaching them how to get over the big's hips, getting skinny and climbing over. Similar, like I talked about this whole monkey game in the pool for playing bigs, how we pass our hands and body around. Same concept we kind of want to do in this situation, right? We're passing ourselves over that big, but in this question from behind ourselves. We could use that to pull ourselves forwards or stop ourselves and go back the other direction. We have an object that isn't moving. So again, as much force as we can impart on the guard slows them down to the screen, but more importantly, stay in that legal position and using objects like that guard to push us in position, like that big to launch us in position, or keep us in the right position.
Great stuff, Coach. Do you wanna take any more questions?
Yeah, my last question to you here.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Any questions for Coach? I mean, all good questions so far. Appreciate you guys tuning in.
If you do one of these drills, or you do any shooting drill right now, or any one-on-one drill right now, or you just go, hey, we're going to work on this step, you're going to attack middle, your job is not to olay, but backpedal. Don't just get to the backpedal and be ready for the direction of the race. Make sure they start working on contesting right away. Why? They need to get better at, okay, we're going to race this direction, whether it's a cross step or I just backpedal. I need to get better at this. I'm not blocking. I need to get better at getting up and contesting. And that change of direction in the lower back and hips is super important to translate into the constant moving, constant crossing over guards, constant change of direction that they're not used to. Push these drills and drills like this where we push muscular endurance. One of the drills to beat up my players early and show them that they're weak little blanks is get a towel. And we play ones until you get 2 stops, I think it is. Take that towel or sweater. Here, it's live. You could use the towel to block. Don't get me wrong. But you can't bring that towel into the body. We can bring that towel down here into our own chest, right? But we can't bring it down here because this is dumb and lazy. But here, we can start doing things afterwards. More importantly, it's annoying and teaches them more to use their hips and legs than this laziness with the hands all the time. And that's where we can help eliminate reaching fouls by doing something so extreme. We take away the hand ability to foul. Heck, you could foul with the towel. I'll still call it. I'd rather you try and block and jump. And this way we're working on those spine muscles to be used to this after that change of direction, which is difficult. I try to keep it very unique. Like I said, I have a very different approach to coaching basketball. I was a physio and trainer before with the Polish national team, a bunch of pro teams. Before, again, a number of NBA and EuroLeague and D1 players told me I should think about coaching just because how I looked at the biomechanics of shooting, defense, and other things in between. I could tell that when a guy shoots, he's got pain in his lower back or his shoulder just because of the mechanics. So I've really been studying this for 15 years now. Really, the X and O's hard for 7 years, won a few championships, things like that, and really delved back into both sides of the player development and helping more coaches understand what I see. Just because moments my players started getting it, they shot higher percentages, more importantly, a lot of them got better at defense or jumped higher just from applying all the shit that, again, is not just off court, but on court and on court, both translate into building up that effort and energy through the course of the season. And it's this type of stuff that helps your guys play defense in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely love it, Coach. Just the details and the passion in which you speak is admirable. I took quite a few notes there. I would say too, I took a lot from this. If you can take one thing, Coach, is even just being able to get those players to, rather than that Olay defense, be able to backpedal and still change directions. I know, like you said, you used Drew Holiday as an example. I can picture it exactly as you mentioned him. I know that can make your on-ball defense so much better, which makes your team defense so much better. So great stuff, Coach. Appreciate the passion, the detail, and just taking the time to do this. I guess before you go, any coaches have any follow-up questions for him? Feel free to voice them or throw them in the chat here before we let Coach go.
Biggest thing I'll add is I know you probably have practice today or tomorrow. Give somebody the basketball and go rip it from them. Tell them to hold as hard as possible and try this twist drill. It'll get some quick buy-in and you'll be like, oh, it's a eureka, and your little guys will love it. And there'll be moments where then they will go try and get a basketball from somebody on the other team and rip it from them and get you an extra possession just because they found it fun. B, do some drill like, hey, we're doing right foot or left foot, 2-dribble drive or 2-dribble pull up. Your options, float, drive, layup. That way the defender knows the direction of the race. That guy can work on the cross step or open step, depending on what we're doing. And more importantly, they work on just backpedaling, containing him, touching that hip to slow him down, to force a pull-up, and then either contest or force the pull-up. And then we can keep leveling up by adding more skills and challenges. But keep it very directional, very simple, just so, again, that defender is probably what's struggling right now, not that offensive player. The offensive player going 2 dribbles into the paint should be able to get off a simple floater, jump shot, or pump fake jump shot open, but more importantly, challenging that defender to get better and contain and force that difficult shot. Any tips for full court pressure? Yeah, actually 1 year in college, my team in North America had the #1 turnover rate. So we were able to force the most turnovers per minute or whatever the hell it is. I had some interviewer from the States call me. I didn't even know that stat till they told me. That being said, it's a lot of, again, spacing and position. Now an athlete, when they receive the ball, want to stand there like this. My job as a defender is make him want to stand there like that and then jump the spot. Jump the spot. More importantly, if I get guys into the right positions and positionally how you space whatever trap you do, system, whatever, the spacing and rotation is more important than the athletes. Where you put your athletes is important. Their effort is important. Why? Their effort is important to decrease the options of the guy in front of them. The guys guarding the ball, their job is not to tip the ball, or their job is not to steal the ball. Most often than not, their job is to contain the ball and force a pass like this, or like this, or like this, where it's super obvious to the next guy. And that next guy's job is be in a position and ready to sprint in the direction they predict. Whether it's over their head, same thing we talked about in the post, we're stealing from American football in this case. We're backpedaling until we can test that ball or jump. We're not jumping early. We're backpedaling and pushing into the legs of that receiving player until we can touch the ball. If anything, we tip it out if we can't get it. We do not let them receive it. Okay? Secondly, if they're jumping that lane going in there, we get into the body of the defender. Why? This guy needs to hold us here. If he could push as an offensive player, push the ball, push me backwards, well, some of my force is this way. Before he separates, he wins. So I need to get in front or not allow him to by keep competing in front, and more importantly, pushing him to sideline or pushing him into a corral, like you would corral a horse or sheep, where I know the ball is going to go and it's making it harder for him, easier for me, or easier for the next guy. And for me, I like to individually trap by forcing that catch near sideline, either corner of the half court, force him over half court, and I am just stopping with my feet like this. Like this. I will let him dribble over half. Once he gets over half like this, I'm right here trying to get him into the corner. His only option is dribble up court or between the legs or behind the back. And guess what he does between the legs, behind the back? Same drill I told you guys to. Wait for that receiving hand to be sitting in space, match that receiving hand or run through the ball with two hands, and you have an individual steal. So there's some really good defense coaches I chatted with. Biggest qualms were when I talk to my players, they say defense is about effort. Hell yeah, there's fucking effort. But there's a lot more to it too. B, it's not just effort, but really these angles matter and the technique. Because if you get the technique down, it makes the next step easier. Your job is not to stop the ball. If we're driving, the ball is not stop it here when he drives, but stop it down here. Or sorry, stop it down here. So when this guy drives, we're matching. We're not meeting him too early. We're forcing a late pull-up or early pull-up by containing. As we get better, we're able to stay closer by maintaining contact and using their force of newtons. If they push me with 30 force of newtons, that's going to help me stop and them slow down. Or push me away and then I could stop and slow down. Full court pressure again. Getting better at wide stance, forcing those dribbles that they're, again, like shooting, less likely to be successful with. And yes, sometimes that means forcing the left-hand dribble, because if I get left-hand dribble and drive by facing my butt this way, and they drive this way, well then guess what? We always block with the bottom hand, and in this case, it would always be my right hand, which is my dominant hand, right? Might not be my favorite jumping technique, but my job is to touch ball, or I say touch skin of the ball, and that's it. If you can touch skin, whether up here or down here, touch the skin. If you can't touch skin of the ball, don't put your hand there. There's moments where that person's going to show you skin, and if you can touch it, touch it. One of my favorite things Matt asked me about closeouts, I'm here, and what we're going to do is a little fun thing I like to do. We steal from Magic, boys. This one's from Magic. All right? So, the art of misdirection. I jam up in the guy, I start doing this, and it just starts going to his face like this, or over here. So he's distracted, trying to see the pass. I swipe down. The art of misdirection. I give him too little, I'm not poking him in the eye. He might think I am. I might be swiping in his face being annoying, but he's now focused on the annoying and focused on what's next and has no idea what the fuck the ball is doing. That's the art of misdirection. We steal from Magic in that case to force the change of focus in the athlete. Forearm and grip strength weakens. I can strip a ball from most guys. Wild, right? But where are they going to hold it? They're going to hold it in the breadbasket or in that zone one. Sorry, a few more things I didn't have in the presentation, but yeah, little gems in there.
I like it.
The misdirection one's one of my new ones I started like trying to coin and write the right way.
Is that going to be in the book?
Yeah, hopefully. It's again, there's a lot, but like for me, it's really these details that nobody's really talked about. Some people have, like I said, I learned some of this stuff from 70 to 80-year-old coaches. Like that crab stuff, after I started doing it, they're like, dude, how are you guarding me, coach? You have crackhead strength. I'm just like, bro, it's angles in position. Like I'm tiny and white. What do you expect? Like I got to work harder, not better, or better, not harder.
I feel you there. When should we expect the book to come out?
Oh, at least a year. I gotta be honest. I'm trying to find some coaches to help clean up the language and make it more consumable. Secondly, I'll give you this nugget. If anyone's writing a book or something, I haven't told anybody about this. I'm also gonna try and put QR codes in the book. Instead of a photo or diagram, you scan the QR code, here's a video or pictures associated with the skill being taught. So not only do you get the literary, but you get associated videos from that shit. So that way we can develop this whole thing into a book that is both good on the shelf, but also in your kid's pocket. Because then they're like, oh, I can associate a video or understand this better from both kinesthetic, auditory, visual learners, however you want to take it in.
Absolutely. When it comes out, you got to let me know and we can share it to the coaches that were in here.
Oh, I know, but you see how much detail there's in this stuff, and how to convey it the right way is just the biggest thing for me. So that's why I want a coach to help me with it, not just like the book writer, which has been offered a few times when I'm like, you don't get the information, you're just writing.
Right. Got you.
So that's my stance. Again, coaches, I'm open to any conversations or if you have questions afterwards. I have high expertise in concussions as well. Like I said, I became physio and that kind of stuff, but that was because like I said, Matt mentioned, I coach sailing, one of the highest certifications in Canada. Helped write part of the coaching manual in my younger years. That's what led me to a lot of the basketball stuff afterwards. But that being said, I got hit in the back of the head coaching sailing. You can see it right here. And I woke up underwater paralyzed. So I woke up and I could only move my eyeballs from a sailing accident, teaching racing on the ocean. So that's why I shifted into physio and training afterwards, and then focused on that before players were like, oh, why didn't you play this, that, and the other? It's just because another wrong hit or issue back then. So I have chronic concussion symptoms as I manage, but I really train athletes on and off the court, but really love on the court stuff. But all this off the court stuff that I've experienced and mastered has really helped a lot of athletes and other coaches understand how to treat the athlete, manage the athlete, whatever it may be with injury or more like concussion stuff. Other things, I've seen it all from the illegal doping stuff in Europe to some craziness and guys going to the Olympics. My brother went to Worlds for wrestling. So whether you want to talk UFC and stuff like that as well, I'm open to it.
Sounds like you got a lot of stories and a lot of good inside information and knowledge. So appreciate your time so much, Coach. I think we'll call that a day. We went a little bit over the hour. Perfect timing. Thanks, coaches, for your questions. Thanks, coaches, for tuning in. If you want to hear any more, reach out to Coach Mike. Just reach out to him personally. I think he'll be happy to answer any of your questions. And yeah, we'll call it a day. Thanks, Coach. We'll try to do one more in 1 month as well. Thanks, coaches, for joining.